factoring trinomial in this form, x squared plus bx plus c in here. So we're going to use the FOIL method to factor this one. So for example, if I have x plus 2 times x plus 4, we can get this is called a FOIL. Fourth term times fourth term, you got an x squared, and then you have the middle one. So we have a x times 4, you got a 4x in here, and then you will have the 2 times x, you got 2x, right? And then 2 times 4, you got a in here. So f times x times x, that is the fourth term. Okay, so that's the fourth term. X times 4, that is the outer term. Okay, and 2 times, that's the inner term. 2 times 4, that is the last term. So that the last term of the first factor, last term of the second factor. And then if you combine the like item, we're gonna get an x squared plus 6x plus 8. Okay, how do I do the backward? If I give you this one, how do you factor this one back? So that's the one we were talking about. So we're gonna look in two numbers whose product is C and the sum will be B. So using this form, x squared plus bx plus c. Okay. All right. So that means we have an x squared. We're gonna factor into x and x, right? So that's our first in here, and we're gonna factor c in here. So we're gonna factor c into two numbers. Okay. These two numbers multiplied will equal to we're gonna call number 1 times number 2. We're gonna equal to c. So this one is our number 1, right? This one is our number 2, and this number 1 plus number 2 we are equal to b. Okay, so that's the one we're gonna try to find out these two numbers. So for example, if we have an x squared plus 13x plus 30, and we're gonna factor the first term. So factor the first term, we're gonna have an x and x in here, factor the first term. And we're gonna factor, this is c, so that means our b here is 13, right? If you compare ax squared plus bx plus c, okay? So b is 13, c is 30, a is 1 here, so since a is 1, so we can just have a 1x and 1x here. So we're gonna go to break down c into two numbers. Break down this one into two numbers, number 1 and number 2, okay? So how do I break down c into two numbers? I can have a 1 times 3, okay? Or I can have a 2 times, 2 times 15, you will get 30. And then we're gonna add these two numbers together. So n1, that's the condition, n1 times n2 so equal to c, 30. And then n1 plus n2 so equal to b. Okay, so that's our condition to find these two numbers. So if we're using 1 and 30, 1 times 30, is 30. But you add these two together, the sum of these two factors, you got 31. So apparently this is not the one we want because our middle one should be 13. If we're using 2 times 15, you got 17. Again, this is not equal to 13 we have here. So we're gonna have to think, break down this one. You can have a 3 times 10 is 3 plus 10 is 13, right? And once we find that out, we can stop thinking about that. Once we find the factor, find the n1 and n2, and we don't have to do any other possibility. Otherwise, you can 5 times 6. Look at that, 5 times 6 is also 30. right? But 5 plus 6 is equal to what? 11. And this is not 13. So number 1 and number 2 using 5 and 6 didn't work either. So we're going to use this one. So that means we can write down this factor into x plus 3 and x plus 10 times x plus 10. Okay, so that's how you do the call for your factoring. Plus 3 plus 10, the for your factoring in here. Okay, how about if I have a middle term, my b here is negative. Look at that, my b here is negative 11, and my c here is 24, which is positive. So in order to break down this into two numbers, add up together will be negative, multiply together will be positive. You're going to have to think like two negative numbers. So for example, negative 1 and negative 24, right? These two multiply, we are equal to 24, but add up together, we are equal to negative 25. Again, that is not negative 11. So this one is not the right one, okay? And if we think of negative 2 and negative 12, multiply, we are equal to positive 24, but again, add up together is not equal to negative 11, so this one will be incorrect. So we think of negative 3 and negative 8, this will add up together to negative 11. So we can factor into x minus 3 times x minus 8. So that's the factoring for this quadratic. One more in here, when we have an x squared minus 2x minus 35. You can think like a 5 and 7, right? 5 times 7 is 35. And then 5 and 7 different will be 2, okay? But this one, c is a negative number, c is negative 35. My b is also negative. So that means I will have to make this number, one is positive, one is negative, in order to multiply to be negative. But since b, middle term, is also negative, so I think I want to let a big number as negative. So look at that, these two add up together, we are equal to negative 2, okay? All right, you can give it a little bit try here. You can try negative 1 and 35. Add up together will be 34. 1 and negative 35, this add up together is negative 34 in here, again, is not matched. So we have a b is negative 2, so apparently this is the group will work. So we factor this into x plus 5 and x minus 7. All right, one more in here. Our middle term is negative. Last term is positive. So that means I will have to factor this into negative and negative. Two negative numbers multiply in order to be positive, and two negative numbers add up together in order to be negative. All right. So if we factor, the only possible to factor this one is 1 and 10, 2 and 5, right? And we will have a 2 negative. So this one you cannot add up together to be negative 6. So that's the incorrect one. If we have a negative 2 plus negative 5 is negative 7. So there's no way you're going to get a negative 6 in here. That means we exhaust all the possibility. So that means this one is a prime polynomial. Okay, it's a prime. We cannot factor this into two real numbers in here. So you can always check your factoring results by multiplying the factor polynomial to verify that is equal to the original polynomial. So you do the big work, you can check your factoring is correct or not. Okay. Another example, when we have a common factor here, we call GCF, greatest common factor. We need to take out the common factor first. So we take out 3 in here, and then we have m squared minus am minus 20. And then we're gonna do the same way as we did earlier, okay? Find the two numbers since this number is negative, b is also negative, so I'm gonna have one positive, one negative in here. Chance I'm gonna need to have a big number is negative, smaller number is positive, so when you add up together it will be negative. So if you think of 10 and 2, 2 times negative 10, you got negative 20. 2 plus negative 10, you got negative 8. So we're going to have a n plus 2, n minus 10 for the factory. And don't forget, you have to carry over the GCF through it down in here. Next one, we're going to factor the coefficient a is not equal to 1. So this one is a little bit tricky because now the number you put it in the first parenthesis or second parenthesis, it will be different. But the method is pretty similar. So C is a positive number, B is a negative number. We're gonna factor this one into 2 negative. Negative times negative will be positive, and then negative plus negative will be negative in here. So we're gonna factor the first. 21x squared, we can factor into x times 21x, or you can factor 3x times 7x. So we're gonna have to using the 2 different combination in here. And we have a 10, which we can factor into negative 2, negative 5. Okay, negative 5. Or we can factor into negative 1 and negative 10. So we have a 2 of the first term, 2 possibility of first term, 2 possibility of the last term here. So we're gonna have a 4 different combination in here. So we're gonna try each pair of factor, try to see which one will work. Okay, so first one, we combine the using x and 21x, and then we're gonna have a negative 1 and negative 10. So x 21x, that's the first term. And if I put a negative 1 on the first one, negative 10 on the second one, we're gonna add up together. The sum of the product will be negative 21. So look at this one. This is the inner multiply, the inner. And then plus the outer multiply, the outer multiply. So the inner multiply is negative 21x. Outer multiply is negative 10x. Okay? And the sum of this product will be negative 31x, and which is not our middle term here. If I place 10 in the front, 1 in the second one, this will make a difference because coefficient is different. So my inner term multiply this one right here will be negative 210x. My outer multiply here will be negative x. So if you add these two together, I got negative 211x. And that is not the middle term. So this one didn't work, that one didn't work either. All right, so we're gonna try to factor the 21x squared, we said earlier, into 3x and 7x. Okay, there's another possibility here is you check this one with 2 and 5, right? Negative 2 to negative 5 will be positive 10. But apparently this one didn't work either. If you multiply these two together, you got negative 42x. Multiply the outer, you got negative 5x. If you add these two together, you got negative 147x. So it did not work. This one multiply, you got negative 105x. Multiply outer, you got negative 2x. Add up, you got negative 107x. Again, did not work. Okay. So look at the 3x and 7x in here. I have a -1 and -10. So if I put a -1 in the front, -10 in the second one, I multiply these two, I got -7x. I multiply the outer, I got -30x. So these add up together equal to -37x. Again, did not work. And we can try the different combination in here, 10 in here, 1 in here. Again, add up is -73x. Again, didn't work. So we multiply this again, this will be -15x. And then multiply these two, you got -14x. And then add up to -29x. Did not work. So we have to keep try and error in this case. If I put a 5 here, 2 in here, I will have a -35x, right? And then this is -6x. And then these two add up together is -41x. So this will work. So looks like there's a lot of random trial in this case. I want to show you like if you have a little bit, you can kind of try this one right here. You have a 3x, 7x in here because we have this multiply equal to 21x squared. And we know we're going to factor this into two negative numbers, right? Either -1, -10, or -2 and -5. So I can do a little bit combination in here. And I can write down these two numbers in this case. I can write down -1 in here, -10 in here, and then cross multiply. 3 times this -10, I got -30x, plus 7 times this one, I got 7x, and this is -37x, so it didn't come out right. So this is not a right one, okay? And then I can try 3x, 7x in here. I can put 5 and 2, okay? And this will be -5, -2, and then cross multiply. 3 times -2x, I got 3x times -2, I got -6x. 7x times -5, I got -35x, right? And then these two add up together, it is -41x. All right, so that means this combination work. But when you're trying to write, you can write down in a horizontal way. So this one we write down as 3x minus 5 times 7x minus 2. And that is the same thing as we have at the end in here. So now we're giving you a little bit quick and easy way, to check this kind of factoring.